Hello, we are pleased that we can welcome you in Workout EU. Today we have here Travis Meyer for an interview, who is 7 times CrossFit Games athlete, father of 4 kids, and owner of the CrossFit gym. I hope that you will enjoy this interview.
Yeah, Travis, what did you train today? How
Yeah,
was
so
the
just did a
training?
lot of actually just movement work and kind of all the not so glamorous things, a bunch of single leg stuff as the first
Oh,
session. And then we're actually going to go play golf with a guy up in Tennessee tomorrow morning. So we're actually going to training a little short to go play some golf.
yeah. So you have a little bit like chill training at the moment after invitationals, or are you in full
Yeah,
prep at the
so
moment?
yeah, training's kind of lowered a little bit. Was going to go to Dubai and then just kind of wanted to get the body 100% healthy before Wadapalooza and the Open and stuff. So have kind of throttled back a little bit on just some downtime, enjoying some family time. Since once I got back from the games, it was like about a week and a half kind of like downtime. And then I like started back up due to Rogue. And then after Rogue, it was going to be like, okay, then Dubai and then Wadapalooza. And it was just kind of after sitting down and talking with Max, we just kind of realized it was better to take this time to just kind of like calm down for a little bit and
Yeah.
use this as a recovery just to get the body 100% for the season. Because I mean, the season's so long now that you
Yeah. How
just
many
kind of have to,
competitions? How many competitions during this year?
well, so I've done, I guess, the games technically, but then you have like the quarterfinals, semifinals,
Yeah,
open,
yeah.
like all of that, which just starts to add up. And then I'll do Wadapalooza and then Rogue. And then that will probably be the extent of everything I'll kind of do. But immediately after Wadapalooza, then you kind of start gearing up for the open and everything else. So, I mean, that whole season is definitely long, right?
Yeah.
So it's
So
not
it's
like it's like,
like, yeah, it's like running all the time, right? When you are doing this
yeah,
competition, so it's like you have 1 month rest maximum. I mean, chill training, and then you have to work
yeah,
hard again. So, and what are your
yeah. So
ambitions?
that's the
Oh,
that
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's just
Sorry,
like the
sorry, sorry.
big thing. No, you're good,
Yeah.
you're good. That's the whole big thing, is just like taking the time now that you actually have it, because then in 4 months when we are starting to really like ramp up training, that you need that downtime and your body needs that rest and recovery. And it's very important, from like strength to recovery to sleep to just overall health, that I like to be in this sport for the longevity and not just a
Oh,
short
wow.
period of time. So taking that time now to just like rest, enjoy family time, and then start to ramp back up at the beginning of the year is kind of the game plan.
Yeah. I have here one question because you are the father of 3 child or 4.
Four,
Oh, four.
four.
Okay. Then you are a
Yeah.
gym owner and you are a professional athlete. Is it hard to do all this stuff together? Because I mean, I can even imagine that I'm doing all this together.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
big
it's
shout out
definitely
to you.
yeah, thank you. Definitely a balancing act of how you structure training around kids and family and wife and time, and how it all kind of function and flows together. But I kind of have a pretty good structure on kind of how it all flows, where like, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they go to school. Tuesday, Thursdays, they're with me. And so it's just kind of an easy structure that I've just done over the last, I guess, so my oldest is now 6, that it's just kind of structured well. So I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 10-month-old. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah,
Really
so out of
productive.
all of that, yeah, they're definitely all at a young age and definitely wild and crazy and energetic, and it's fun. And I mean, I definitely have a very supportive wife that helps out a ton and makes it easier so I can train at certain ports in time during the day if I need to do a session when I get home. But I typically do a session in the morning, and then I'll do another session, coach, then I'll go pick them up, go home. Once my wife gets home, typically do another workout or something.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's just kind of like the structure of how that works. And then during games training, that training is just completely different, to where you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
like 5 a
So you
day. And yeah.
so you have a schedule for every day. I mean, from Monday to Friday, you have every day. I mean, like from 8 in the morning, you know what you will do at 9, 10, 11, 3,
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, because it allows, like, my kids kind of force you into have a structure to a degree, right? Like, I know they need to be picked up from school at a certain time. They need to be dropped off at a certain time. And so I'm like, okay, I have this 6-hour block of training that I need to get X amount done. And so it just makes you prioritize the things that are important during that time. And then when I'm at home, I try to spend as much time with them and focus on the family side of things. And then when I'm at the gym, I try to spend all my time in here focused on training. So it's definitely balancing and trying to figure it all out at times. And I definitely don't have it 100% nailed down, and I don't think I ever will, but you just keep trying.
But it's impressive. It's really impressive. I mean, does it help you when you train that you can be fully focused on training, and then when you are your kids, so you don't have to think about training and be just focused on your kids? Is it good for you? Because I can imagine that there are some people who will be like with someone and they will be just focusing on their training. So is it good for you that you can just switch off from training?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good balance, because I think having other things that go on besides just training is important to just your everyday life. Like, you need to do other things besides just fitness. And so I think having kids definitely for me makes me do other things outside of that. From when we're outside playing, they're riding dirt bikes, jumping on the trampoline, whatever it is, whatever sport they're playing at that time.
Now it's Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
So I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah. So in about 19 days will be Christmas. So it's definitely, we put up a lot of lights, make it fun for them to enjoy. But yeah, it's definitely trying to figure out how you manage it all and make it all flow and work right. But I like the not always having to talk CrossFit all the time, or like, so when I do go into the gym, it's like, hey, that's just the time I'm focusing on like training, what I need to get better at, how I need to do this. And then when I go home, it's like, okay, no, now my time's like with my family and my kids. And then it just kind of allows me to step away from like the fitness side of things at times. And it's honestly kind of nice. I used to just, it would always, that's all I would think about. And then you just learn that that's not healthy.
So
right?
It's good like, for your mental health as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you need that separation to keep you level headed and feel a little more relaxed. And for me, that's what works. And it might not work for someone else. And
yeah, of course.
I mean, but for me, it works well and I like it. So I'm going to stick with it.
That's great. And how many sessions per week you have? I mean, when it's classic preparation for open or the games, you can.
Yeah. So typically right now we're at 2 with maybe like a movement session. So kind of like 3, probably to a degree. And then you have leading up
separated to for degrees. You separate your training for degrees. Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
It's like
so depending on the time of year, it will structure a different training, right? So like during the off season, technically it's like more strength, high skill gymnastics. You're just trying to like fine tune. And then once you start getting closer into the open and the quarterfinals, semifinals is like where you start doing like full CrossFit kind of like all the time. And typically around then you're doing, I'd say 3 to 5, depending on the lead up into the games or regional level. It's kind of about where we hang out with workouts.
Oh yeah, that's quite interesting. I didn't know about this, so it's really good. And you want to be a coach in the future, because I mean, you are for 7 or 8 years under Max, or you cooperate with Max for 7 or 8 years, right? So
yeah, since 2012. So 9 years. Yeah.
Oh, it's 9 years already. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be his
so
partner.
He's someone that I've definitely looked for, that has always, I remember having a conversation with him when I first like started getting into finding a coach. And I remember having a conversation with him and I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I was like, I trust him. And then ever since then, I've kind of just put my trust in him and he's put his trust in me. And then we've kind of just stuck it out the whole time. And I think that's a very important thing to find as a coach, is someone that you can trust on that level to literally handle everything. And that if I have a bad year, I'm not going to blame him because it's not his fault. And then just leave coaches or jump around. That, I mean, you got to be loyal and stick it out. And that's definitely something we've created and done over the last 9 years.
Oh yeah. And can you say sometimes that you don't agree with something, what he brought you into the program, or can you disagree? 100%. Really? Seriously?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, that's part of it, right? Like he's there to write the things that I don't necessarily want to do, but those are the things I need to do. And then if there ever is stuff where I need altered or want altered to be a different way, then we just sit down and talk about it and then like figure out the best strategy of how to get the best out of it and kind of make the most of the situation. If it's like, if I'm like, hey, I want more volume of gymnastics and I want to weight lift 5 days a week. And he's like, well, maybe you should weight lift 3 days a week or whatever it is. And then we just sit down, discuss it, and then come up with kind of like a game plan around it. But most of it, I trust him and allow him to do it. And then I keep him informed on how the session went, what my body feels like. And then we kind of just keep going from there.
Yeah, that's good. So can you imagine yourself as a coach in the future? I mean, in 5-10 years, I'm even full-time coach when you will have athletes.
Yeah. I mean, like I write some programs for people like here on site in our gym, and then just coaching kind of frequently during the week and stuff like that I enjoyed a lot. To what degree will I coach? I don't know. I think
you already have L1.
Level 1, level 2, then personal trainer. I've been coaching. I coached before I ever kind of like got into CrossFit. Like I used to be a personal trainer before I ever found CrossFit. So I always kind of enjoyed coaching and teaching and training, and then found CrossFit in the middle of that. And then that turned me on to like, hey, you're pretty good at this sport. You should probably stick with it. And then now the sport's grown 10 years later to be an actual professional sport. And that's kind of been where I've put most of my time and energy, is solely on that, and not trying to get too distracted with doing too many different things. Like if I was to coach and do those things, I feel like I would take away from the time I could give someone and actually help them, which I don't think would be beneficial, right? Like if I'm going to sit there and coach somebody, I want to make sure that I'm 100% dialed in that situation and can really help them achieve what they want, if that's what I'm going to do.
And so you have any degree, I mean, from university?
No. So just like certifications, kind of a lot of trial and error on myself, and doing nutrition certifications, personal training, and then the CrossFit ones. But from that side of things, you just do a lot of trial and error and see what works and what hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so I've owned my affiliate for since 2013, and then I ran 2 other affiliates for 2 years. So you have 3 gyms to that. So I have 1 gym, and then I ran 2 gyms prior to that. So like a guy brought me in, he wanted me to run the gym. I ran the gym for them. And then at a certain point I left, did it again for another guy, and then decided I wanted to do it all on my own. So in 2013 started my own gym, and then that's kind of led me to being here. Nice. But yeah, we've been, so 2013 we've been here, and it's been good.
That's great. And was there a thought about opening your own gym from the start, or it just came and you realized that you want to do it?
I mean, that was never really the intention. It just kind of turned into that, and was presented an opportunity that I was like, all right, this is kind of now or never, and I'm going to take the chance. And we took the chance, and I haven't looked back since. But I definitely didn't get into it thinking I would become a gym owner and have that kind of lifestyle, but it's fun and I enjoy it. So on top of competing full time, then it's something enjoyable. But I have a GM that kind of like handles a lot more of the admin and business side of things, and I kind of I'm always here and help out as much as I can. But from that side of things, it's also nice having someone else that's in charge of a lot of things as well.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to do everything on your own.
No. Yeah. Oh. I did when we first started, but then after that, no.
You don't have the time for anything else, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like at that point, then you just start taking away from everybody else, right? You start taking away from you can spread yourself too thin, and it just doesn't become beneficial for anybody else, because you're not putting 100% into each area to make it better. And I think having other people involved helps do that.
Yeah. And you have really good, group in Training Think Tank, right? Because whole Training Think Tank group is in your gym, correct? It's true, right? So
yeah. So inside my gym, it's 12,000 or 11,000 square feet. And then as you walk in, it kind of like makes an L. And so like the first all wide open part is like the CrossFit in or on site people that kind of like train. And then to the right side is like the remote athletes that like Training Think Tank programs for, and different people that come in from out of town and those kind of things. So it's kind of like its own gym inside my gym kind of thing, but it works well.
And how many members you have in the gym? I mean, in general?
We're about 175, 180, somewhere in that ballpark. Like we have more in our system, but that's like due to all the coaches and the family, like my family and different things like that.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Kind of work out.
And
yeah.
Do you have, I mean, any tips for CrossFitters? Because I mean, this will listen mostly CrossFit people. So you have any tip for CrossFitters who are just starting or who are, I don't know, for 2 years in CrossFit and see that they can move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Yeah, I think a lot of the kind of things I would look at is what's the main goal and like what's your big picture on what you want to accomplish. If it's you want to be competitive, then I would look at getting a coach, making sure your movement is dialed in, that you're like focusing on the technique aspect of things, and then trusting that it's not going to happen overnight to get to the level that we're at. And that does take time and patience and persistence. And I think if you realize that you can be at a high level, then it's just keep trusting the process, and hopefully in the end it will work out for you. And I mean, it definitely has its ups and downs. And I mean, there's been times it took me 2 years to PR a snatch again. So it's like, you don't have to be frustrated when you're not PRing every day, because that just doesn't happen. And that's not realistic. So
and what's your PR?
I think 300 is my best.
You hit that on competition, right?
Yeah. So I think for most people, it's just finding something that and if it's just you're a beginner CrossFitter, like just starting out, then I'd say the biggest thing is be patient with it, but have fun and don't take it too seriously. Like it's at the end of the day, when you leave the gym, when you're there for an hour, when you leave, it's not like anybody knows what just happened, or when people are like, oh, I didn't RX this workout, or I didn't do it prescribed. And it's like, it's okay. Like the intensity, the movement quality, that's what you're trying to achieve, than necessarily I need to win the class, right? Like when you leave the class, it's not like anybody cares when you leave. So it's like, stay focused on yourself and be present. And I feel like just enjoy the whole process of it. But movement quality, I feel like, is a big thing that a lot of people sometimes neglect and don't focus on as much, because if you move better, you feel better, and then it just kind of transitions to helping you overall.
And do you have, I mean, good history with injuries, or you are like injury free in the past?
For the most part, I've stayed pretty healthy over my career, just based off of like when I first got into CrossFit, not due to CrossFit, it was actually at my brother's wedding, I fractured my L5. And then, so from that was like probably like the bigger injury, but it wasn't due to CrossFit or anything. It was something outside of CrossFit. And then it's allowed me to be back to normal and be stronger than I ever have doing CrossFit. And then I feel like you just kind of have the constant little things here and there, like elbows, sometimes shoulders, but I get a lot of PT work done pretty frequently. So I get a lot of body work and manual therapy done that has allowed me to stay healthy and continue to keep kind of. Say again?
Sorry, how often you're doing this stuff? Just keep yourself.
Depending on the year or type of, or during the season, like leading up to the games, pretty frequently. Right now, I'd probably say 2 times a week, and then I have prescriptions from him writing like movement and accessory work 4 times a week. So I mean, there's manual therapy probably twice a week.
And do you have your own physiotherapist? I mean, the guy who
So we have a PT on site that does a lot of that. So if something happens, or if I feel something slightly like tight or stiff, or almost like, okay, I feel like I need to get this work done, then I'll just stop training right then, and then he'll just work on it for a while. and I mean, I get it. That's not realistic for the everyday person, right? Like that's just, yeah, most people don't have access to a physical therapist like that. So then it definitely has allowed me to stay healthier for a longer period of time of like, oh, I feel something here. And it's like, okay, well, let's work on it for an hour. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now we're better. Where you just have to be smart and do those things on your own. But yeah,
but you
it's
have to
definitely
work
nice
for that.
having that. Huh?
Yeah, you have to work for that. So you just deserve that at the moment.
Yeah.
You are so hardworking. Yeah, I think so that, yeah, based on your results and all this stuff, because you are quite good. What's your ambition for next CrossFit Games? I expect that you will be there.
I mean,
so
yeah. I mean, definitely the goal always is to go in and win and kind of have a great finish. And I think each year I've developed more and more mentally. And I think the mental side of things is more where I have to become a little bit more efficient than necessarily like the fitness side of things. I don't really feel like it's too much as a fitness level, as it's more of like limitations mentally that have self-doubt or that have creeped in, and different little things that have like self-sabotaged is something that we continue to work on with like my mental coach. And that's something I feel like I'm getting stronger at each year, that I think can hopefully this year it all tie in and work together and be in my favor.
It will be. I'm quite sure that it will be.
Yeah.
What are your favorite exercises in workout? I mean, power snatches or push jerk or muscle ups?
Yeah, from a weightlifting perspective, I'd probably say snatch. It's probably the most frustrating movement, but it's also the most rewarding when you actually get it right. So when like the timing's right, when the day feels good, when it just feels right, I guess that's like the simplest way to put it. That's a fun lift. If it's some sort of other cyclical piece, I'd probably pick the rower. And then just kind of like body weight, I'd probably pick like a wall ball, just something I kind of enjoyed.
You are quite tall, right?
Yeah. So I'm 5'11", so that's definitely suits me more than someone shorter.
No, Wilson, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, not his favorite.
The short guys. But, yeah. You want to tell something? I just.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just clearing my throat. Yeah.
That's great. And are you still doing some drills? I mean, for example, snatches or bar muscle ups. I mean, the drills which are with the really low weight, but you need to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we always have focused on and just kind of always over the years tried to keep improving. Like you can always improve your snatch. You can always improve your squat mechanics. Even so at our level, right? Like you're thinking that's the top 1%. If I can find a way to move more efficiently, that's like 0.001% better. Well, that 0.001 is going to translate a lot more when you're at the games if I can move that much better. So like I've retrained my snatch probably 15 different times.
Oh, wow.
We constantly always look at how the position of the setup off the ground, how I'm actually getting the bar into the hip, and then the catch and receiving position, a bunch of footwork. And that's just the snatch. That's not even including every other movement that we do in the sport, right? And so you're constantly always trying to find a new way to improve that movement or that range. And if that range is better, then I can actually sit in a better squat position. Well, if I can sit in a better squat position, then I can receive the bar overhead better. So it's like, it all works together, but I definitely dial things in a lot more kind of constantly.
So you're doing that
varies.
Yeah. So there is no special session.
Doing stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot of slow sessions that I do frequently throughout the year. Like on a weekly basis of just a movement side of things and keeping good position, making sure my overhead's stacked. Okay, can I make my handstands better? Okay, where if my hands are placed here versus here, can you maintain more of a hollow body? Okay, then you need to tighten this, where it's always learning and you're always trying to level up what you've done prior. And I think that's what's cool about CrossFit is that it is always evolving and always changing and being challenging. And that's just one thing you kind of have to keep striving for. And I think that's what always makes it fun to keep coming back, is that it's like, you don't ever have it figured out, right? Like it's not like anybody's got it figured out. You always have to keep finding a new way to do it and improve it.
Yeah, you can be better every day. It's like your grips, right? 1% better.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, it's something you try to live by and do in kind of every area and aspect. And I mean, it's funny, but it's like if you try to just get better at 1%, like doing one thing a little bit better, like it over time, the consistency of it, you really start to see the benefits. And then I think it's just being able, if you're doing that for an hour a day, okay, what are the benefits? And then if I'm doing it 2 hours a day, what are the benefits? And I think
it was in some book. I think that I wrote it in some book, but don't know the exact name at the moment. And do you have any motto, I mean, for yourself, which keeps you motivated all the time?
I mean, my kids, I'd probably say that's like a very big one. It's just like, I want to do well for them, not even from the sake of like, I have to do well. It's more like, you want them to be proud. You want them to be like, oh, this is what my dad has accomplished. This is what he's overcome. These are the challenges he was faced, and this is how he faced it. So I think for me, it's more of my motivation is for them. And then it's also to challenge myself to see what I'm fully capable of doing. And I think you have to push yourself and find new limits. And CrossFit does that for me, is it gets me out of my comfort zone in certain areas or on workouts. Like, yeah, they're uncomfortable. Yes, they hurt. Like, we all feel it. Like, everybody's experiencing it. It's just a matter of like, do I feel it at 3 minutes in, or do I feel it at 10 minutes in? And it's just, how can you keep pushing that line and getting better? And I think that's what's exciting. What's always motivating is like seeing the progress, seeing how far you can actually take kind of like the human body and do these different things where like, okay, I back squatted 500. Can I run a sub 5 minute mile? Then can I snatch 300? Like, and then you start really testing the boundaries of these movements and what we think we're even capable of. And it's cool.
Yeah, that's great, because in CrossFit, you can be good almost in everything. And that's like the magic of CrossFit, because it's not like you will be a powerlifter, you will be able to do free lifts, and then not anything else. So it's quite
then my heart rate doesn't get up.
Oh yeah, exactly. What's your highest heart rate, I mean, during the training in the last 3 years? Have you ever been over 200?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't measure that? Oh wow, so you're not using Whoop or something like that?
No.
Even during the CrossFit games? Okay.
No, I mean, like my Garmin would tell me, but I don't ever look at it.
It's not important for you.
Based off of like most movements, and like if it's a cardio endurance piece, I feel pretty confident in and like how I feel. And I mean, I think there's definitely ways to regulate it and be more efficient. It's just not something I've ever really used much as a metric. Like, if we do something with the heart rate, it's at a relatively low heart rate so that you're tracking just like I'm actually recovering and doing things in a moderate, scaled, appropriate level, where when you're doing the workout, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, I have to go fast regardless of what my heart rate feels like. Like, you still have to get the work done, at least for me, right? Like, and I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. And I think there's a lot of other ways people would probably say something different. But for me personally, it's just, I don't really ever track it. It's not a metric I use frequently for training purposes, unless it's like zone 1 work or easy work of like, hey, stay in this heart rate zone, then that I do. But from the regards of during training and what happens at the games, not usually.
Okay. And why do you lift in Metcons? Why not using lifters? Because I mean, it's like a really special thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, so I used to, and then one of the things was just being able to have the positions to not have to rely on it in Metcons, right? If I'm doing a workout and it requires a 225 snatch, but I can't snatch without lifters on, then I need to improve my positions. I need to improve my ankle range. I need to improve how I'm squatting in the bottom, where I'm trying to just, I'm bypassing that with lifters, where I'm not improving my position as much because I'm solely focused on allowing the heel rise to take away the ankle range. Where if I have to go run 400 meters, come back in, or even at the games, for instance, right? Like doing that run and then into the max lift, or the cleans, you don't want to run with lifters on. And I saw some people
Oh,
run with lifters, and I'm like, that's got to be so uncomfortable. It's not good for you, but
yeah.
it's just something we worked on to improve so that I never had to rely on them.
Yeah.
And then if I ever need them, I can pull them out and use it. And then my range is already good, that adding lifters will make the range even better. But I personally just don't like it too much. When I would clean and jerk, when I would go for the jerk, I always felt like I was getting pushed too far forward. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
when I would snatch, I liked them because it just made my bottom position stronger. But I thought I could train it, and which I did. And so then it's just, I got more comfortable lifting in flats and then not having to kind of rely on them too much. I think
Oh,
they're
yeah.
definitely beneficial, just not, I feel like you need to know how to still snatch heavy without them on in case you ever don't have that. Because if I always relied on lifters and then they said, well, you need to go do all this work before, come in and then snatch that, like you wouldn't have time to change out your shoes or whatever. So it was just something from I don't know, I guess it was years ago that we just kind of worked on improving. And Max was always big on, if you can't squat without lifters and do it correctly, then we need to fix your positions, which is what we do, and fix the movement. And now it's a better position overall. And I mean, my highest lifts are all in Metcons. So it's not like, so I've never and probably because I don't train enough in lifters to really know, but
but there are many CrossFitters who are lifting just in Metcons. I mean, Malheiros or Olsen, he's not using them as well. And I heard from him that he told that he has a special inch when he's using the lifter, so for him it's not good for snatches as well, he told. But for clean and jerk, he told that the opposite, that when you have that, so he feels much more comfortable. But probably up to everyone.
And I mean, I think it's definitely a preference thing as well, right? Like it's going to be whatever the individual likes. And it's like wearing wrist straps and not wrist straps. It's like, do you like them or do you not? And I think it can kind of go the same way with like the shoes. Do you like the lifting shoe or do you not? But I always feel like more is not always better. So like knee sleeves, wrist straps, I try to stay away from, just because then I can actually listen to my body and see how it actually feels. Do I think they're beneficial and help? 100%. But I think you also need to be able to do those things without that as well.
Oh yeah, it's quite makes sense. Yeah. And I have a question about that, your grips, because why that material X2 which you have? Because Victory grips are doing a tacticals or steeled or that X2. So why this material, for example, is for your grips?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was just a matter of how I felt like I grabbed onto the bar, right? And Victor at Victory Grips has always done a very good job of kind of evolving and creating different materials to keep improving the product overall. And then I remember testing out the X2s and immediately just kind of like, I love the way they felt. I love the cushion kind of feel when I was on the bar, but still had a super tacky glued on grip. And from there, I just kind of fell in love with them and then haven't really used any other ones since.
And have you tried the tacticals? I mean,
yeah, I've tried them all. I mean, it's just I think it's just a preference thing of I liked the X2 ones better.
And are you using a chalk on them or without the chalk?
Oh, chalk. Lots.
Yeah. Okay. All the time. Okay. I think that's half hour. Yeah, it's quite idle. So you will have a time. You're going to teach someone or train someone at the moment?
Yeah, so we have a 12 o'clock class. So I'll teach a class here at 12. And then, then I'll do a training session after that. And then we'll get ready to go play golf and drive up to Tennessee.
That's great. Okay, Travis. I mean, thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah. Well, hey, it was a pleasure. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much for whole workout team, and have a nice day. Enjoy your golf and enjoy your session, and maybe see you soon. See you anytime in the future. Thank you so much.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
This was Travis Meyer. I hope that you enjoyed this interview and wish you a nice day.